Hey folks, it's that time of season again. It's time to start the tomatoes. Been kind of putting it off, you know. I'm getting a little antsy seeing some other people put some cool videos up, starting theirs. I just want to kind of wait a little bit. Didn't want to start them too early. In my opinion, I started my peppers maybe a little too early. I'm going to have a video of them soon, but you can see they're getting huge, and they're just getting almost unmanageable. And I still got almost 2 months before they can go outside. So, you know, you live and learn. But you know, I'm hoping my tomatoes are just about the right time to start now. We'll see how they go. You know, there's a lot of different factors. You definitely never want to start them too late, because you know, I'm sure everybody's been through that who's been growing for a while. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm growing this year for tomatoes. So I'll start out in almost a random order. First, I got this plum tomato. I've been growing it last year. I got the original plant from a relative. It grew really well. I had a couple of plants. One grew amazing. The other one was in really poor soil, so I understand why it didn't do well. But the actual tomatoes were really great and nice, and you know, plum tomatoes, you really get a lot of meat out of them, so to speak. So I really enjoyed that. Next one is the Black Seaman tomato. It's a pretty popular heirloom variety. Yeah, I've never grown them before. I've seen them on the internet, a lot about them. A lot of people say they're really good, and I want to try them. So I got those I'm going to try. Similar to the last one, the Black Krim tomato. This is a black tomato, sort of like the Cherokee Purple. That's also supposed to be a very good tomato for an heirloom variety. Going to be trying that too. And as I just mentioned, Cherokee Purple. I think everybody should be growing Cherokee Purple in their garden. I can't imagine starting a tomato garden without Cherokee Purple. It just wouldn't make sense to me, in my opinion. I think these are all around the best, you know, regular size tomato. There's some cherry tomatoes that maybe I like a little better, but this is an amazing tomato. This is the yellow pear tomato. You see them all the time in the exact same one as this. This is actually originally from one of those Burpee tomato starts, and last year it grew amazing for me. I just couldn't believe it. It was my first one that produced fruit of the season, and it just continuously went. I was like sick of the tomatoes. I actually killed the tree off, or well, it was like a tree. I killed the plant off prematurely because I just didn't want any more of these, because it produced, I would say, over 500 off one plant, and I'm probably underestimating. So the yellow pear tomato, that was a really good one for production anyway. Tasted good too. Black cherry tomato. This is the I think Russian. It's called the Russian black cherry tomato. It's an heirloom as well. As I said before, this is my favorite tomato, bar none. Absolutely the best as far as production, vigorous growth, tastes really good. Never had any problems with it. You know, I don't like to have to mess around with plants that don't produce, but this one always delivers for me. Oh, this is a new one. You may have noticed you know, I'm using like little packets like this. You know, like I didn't buy them from the store, and you're probably right, because most of these I saved the seeds from the previous year, or I got the seeds in a trade. So I'm really rarely buying seeds anymore, and I would expect that now with the internet and everything. After a few years of growing, you really don't need to buy seeds very often, unless you want a particular variety, which is what I come up to now. This is the OSU blue tomato. You can look it up on the internet. It's actually a blue tomato. It comes out looking blue. It's not a huge tomato. It's not a cherry tomato either. It's sort of just a smaller tomato. But it looks really neat. You know, I'm not sure if it tastes good or not, but something neat to grow. Yeah, so the OSU, for those who don't know, it's Oregon State University. They basically developed this tomato using natural breeding techniques. So no GMO stuff, just, you know, crossbreeding tomatoes the old-fashioned way. And yeah, something neat to try anyway. This is one of two known hybrid tomatoes that I'm growing this year. You know, I have nothing against hybrids. I just really like a lot of the heirloom tomatoes, but you know, when I do have a hybrid that I like, I don't mind growing it at all. This one's a grape tomato, originally from a grocery store, but I'm going to grow this one 2 seasons from seed, so I guess I'm sort of turning it into a, you know, less hybridized version. It's been good for me. It's growing really good, tastes good. Yeah, no complaints. And I don't like those ones in the grocery store where, you know, a little flat like this is like $5, and I pick that much like every 2 days off the plant. And then this is an old seed packet. I grew these a couple of years in a row. It's kind of like a mixed cherry tomato thing. Yeah, so I've grown it. I never bothered saving the seeds, but it did really well for me 2 years ago. Last year I planted it in a really poor spot, and it didn't really do well. Didn't get much at all. But the year before I really had a great plant out of these, so I'm going to give it a go just for the heck of it. I have the seeds, so, you know, not many, but I'm going to try it and, you know, see what happens. So this year, as you can see, I have a flat in front of me. For those that have followed a lot of my videos, I'm quite often starting my seeds more in, like, you know, Ziplocs like this with you know, paper towel inside, wetted, etc. But this year I decided for my tomatoes I'm going to do direct seed into a flat. I don't often do that, but I'm going to just try it this year. If that doesn't work, it's going to go to this method again. I'm just going to see how it, you know, the difference. I just used to always really like using the paper towel and Ziploc method because it was very reliable, very fast, and you know, you get used to doing the same method year after year, and it just becomes second nature. You know, this is something I don't normally do, but you know, I might as well see what happens when I try it. So the first thing you should do when you're starting your indoor starts, you know, figure out how much space you have to grow. You know, I have my setup here, so I set up my flat to accommodate as much space as I think I can handle, at least for now. And then also think about, you know, once these plants are grown up, you know, do you have the space to plant each of these, you know, into you know, solo cups or whatever, you know, because a lot of people, they'll put 2 seedlings to a cell. Well, then think about that. You're going to have, in this case, you'd have 72 cups, you know, because I have 36 cells here. 72 cups, that takes up a lot of space. So you really need to plan ahead on, you know, how much space you have in the future, how much space you have here, and you know, use that in deciding what you're going to plant, how much of each you're going to plant, you know, etc. You know, a lot of people go nuts and they're like, oh, I need to plant, you know, 8 of these tomato. Well, most people don't need 8 of one tomato plant. You know, each plant you should be getting, you know, maybe 25 to 100 tomatoes. You know, are you going to eat that many? I don't think so. So, you know, think about what you're doing. Be realistic about your expectation, and be realistic about what your needs are. You know, I've done all that in the past. I've made all the mistakes. You know, I went crazy. You know, grew like 10 plants of this variety, and you know, one plant I'm like already sick of it. So of that variety. So you know, very rarely do you need to plant a whole whack of one plant, unless you're feeding like, you know, an army, which fortunately most of us aren't. Okay, so anyways, this is what I did. I filled this with dirt probably 3 hours ago, and then what I did is I bottom watered the tray. So I just basically filled the tray with maybe a 1/4 inch of water, which I guess is probably just under a centimeter. Yeah, let it soak in, and it's kind of neat that after 3 hours I can see, like in this cell, it's actually wet. I can stick my finger down a little bit in, and it's wet on the inside. So yeah, watering from underneath works. So that's the main goal of that. I want to have the soil basically a little moist. Then I put the seeds in. Then I'll use the spray bottle, and I'll just go, you know, on top, make sure it's all wet. Sometimes add a little bit of soil on top as well, and we're off to the races. Next most important thing is to use labels. If you don't use labels, it's very, very likely you're going to end up forgetting what you planted. Believe me, I forget what I planted even with the labels sometimes. You know, mistakes happen. You know, last year I had probably a half dozen of my tomatoes. I wasn't sure what they were until they came up, just because I had things shuffling around, and I transplanted into unlabeled cups and etc. So what I try to do is I use these labels, I put them in the flat, and then when I transplant them to cups, and then the next step, I try to keep this along with it. These are very small, like coffee stirrer cups. Very cheap though. I bought this pack of 150 of them at a Dollar Tree. Pretty popular store. Really great for gardening stuff. You know, a lot of stuff isn't really meant for gardening, but you know, these coffee stirrers are great. Writing on them is a little difficult. If you have done a calligraphy course, you know, you're one step up on that, but no, it's not too bad. You can just you know, put like the initials or whatever. It's good. So I'll just show you quickly how I plant into a cell. I don't think I'll be showing you anything that's new or unique, but you know, people still ask, how do you do this, how do you do that? So I'm going to show you guys. So I'm going to start with my OSU Blue, which is kind of my favorite right now because I've never grown it. So I'm just basically taking my little coffee stirrer with the OSU label, and I'm just going to I'm going to go for 2 holes in a cell. Here I'm using what they call six packs. It's 6 cells, you know, for each square. I really like that. I'm not as big a fan of the 9 packs, because the 9 packs, you really run out of room quickly. These ones, you can grow in them for, you know, 2 to 3 weeks sometimes with tomatoes, depending on how much light. That's another factor too. If you have really intense light, they're going to grow fast. So you got to judge by that sometimes too. Yeah, so basically put my 2 in a cell, take out my sprayer, go like this. But in reality, what you'll do is you'll plant all your seeds out, and then you'll get the sprayer, and then you'll do all of them. but it's just for demonstration purposes. Do that. Make sure you have your label. Make sure it's the correct label. Go like this, put it at the end. Done. And that's it. I'm sure these are going to do just fine. So that's it. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.